All right, welcome to Crash Podcast, episode number 6 with my man Teddy Roman.
What's up?
Teddy and I have we met through a wonderful community, and then we had some conversations regarding past addiction, crashing, overcoming some crazy odds, and our own challenges. And we vibed pretty damn well. So I'd really like to, I'm really looking forward to this conversation, and I want to hear more about you. So with that being said, Teddy, please introduce yourself a bit.
What's going on, guys? I am Teddy Roman. I am a father, husband, toy salesman by day, transformation coach by night. I am working really hard to make that by day and night because I love what I do in my journey of 4 years sober. Found a relationship with God, found peace, found mental maturity, fixed my relationship with my wife. We just celebrated 22 years on my 4th sober date. The 2 dates match.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I
Makes it easy to
unofficially have
remember.
a tattoo for both. I've got our anniversary on my arm, 4/24/2004, and my sober date is 4/24/22.
Nice.
So, yeah. Yeah, dude, being sober has been awesome. It unlocked who I really was supposed to be. And I love helping guys get sober. I love even more helping guys take the next level and fixing their minds and fixing their lives and becoming whoever they want to be.
Yep. That is, I can equate and empathize with that 1,000%. I mean, that's the whole reason that I started the Hold My NA Beer. That's the whole reason I started that page. That's the whole reason I was doing this podcast. I mean, yes, I get some selfish enjoyment out of chopping it up with fellow people who have torn their life to shreds and then rebuilt it. So if any of all of this helps one person, it's all worth it. And I hope to help many more than that. But obviously that's the goal.
It is. It is. It's funny you talk about being selfish. It's crazy to me how that word comes up a lot in this whole recovery journey.
Mm-hmm.
When we both got sober, what's the first thing our sponsors told us? Be selfish with your recovery. I was on a call this
100%.
morning with a guy, and he's got sobriety handled, but he's working on the mindset, and he's trying to get full custody of his kids and all this other stuff. And we've got him working a morning routine of gratitude list and self-empowerment and journaling and all that good stuff. And he keeps saying, I'm doing that stuff in the morning for you. And I stopped him right in his tracks and said, no, you're not. Like, don't take this the wrong way. Be selfish with your first hour, because selfish doesn't mean what society tells us it means in this case, right? Selfish means you are prioritizing yourself to pour as much love into yourself properly so that you can set the foundation and the framework for who you need to be for everybody else. So being selfish in this one instance is not what society says. It's what you need to do to be who you need to be for who you want to be it for.
100%. I mean, even the program says selfish and self-centeredness was the root of our problems. That's also kind of the root of our solution. However, we just learn how to retool it.
Right. Absolutely.
So, all right. So let's get into it. Guide me through your walk at the beginning to where you first started noticing addictive tendencies, maybe even before drugs and alcohol. Something that kind of led you to, as I view addiction as a manifestation of escapism. So something that took you out of yourself that you can look back now with the lens that you have and realize that was the beginning.
Yeah, that's the last 4 years I've had to dive deep into that. Right? We talked about this the other day. Alcohol was but a symptom of my problem. I was the problem. So digging through the past and figuring out the root of what I was trying to numb, why I was doing what I was doing, the addictive behaviors, that's childhood trauma for me. That's where it all starts. I didn't grow up in the greatest household. I'd say it was fairly loving, but chaotic in its own weird ways. And I'll spare all those gory details. But
You can tell some of them.
I mean, my dad suffered from mental illness. He was a recovered drunk, a recovered drug addict who did prison time for getting high on his own supply. after being a drug kingpin in the Bronx. Came out of jail clean, but turned to booze because it was legal. And his parole officer, I guess, didn't have a problem with that. This was well before I was born. My parents are 16 years apart. My mom's younger than my dad. Um, the one piece of respect I give my father for the shitty childhood that we grew up under. Uh, on my first birthday, he was on a bender doing his thing. Mom couldn't find him for a couple of days. She finds him at the bar, got me in her arms. She drags him out of the bar, blah, 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 the whole story like you'd see in a movie. And he was drunk and he didn't want to hear it anymore. And while she's going to put me in the car seat, he decides he wants to kick her. But he slips in the snow and misses, falls, and breaks his back. 3 broken vertebrae.
Ouch.
So she goes to see him in the hospital the next day without me. He's, well, where's my baby boy? Where's my baby boy? And she gave him the ultimatum. You can pick the booze or you can pick me and your son. And there's a lot of family history of what a jerk my father was. But the 1 ounce of respect I do have for him is he never had a drink since that day.
Okay.
So it was a very loud, argumentative mom wearing both sides of the man-wife kind of thing. We grew up very poor. So there was a lot of needing to find escape, right?
Yep.
And in that escape, food was my first addiction.
Okay.
You can't tell now, but that's part of my story is a 150-pound transformation after getting sober.
Yeah, that's
but
amazing.
I was a fat kid. And towards the early to middle teenage years, became a latchkey kid. I would come home from school. There's nobody home. We weren't allowed to go outside because we lived in a pretty rough neighborhood and we were very, very tightly religiously raised. So mom kept us out of a lot of the trouble. So I had afternoon TV shows and boxes of pasta and bags of potato chips and, whatever was around. And I would watch TV and eat and just be fat. And knowing what I know now, that was my escapism. That was my dopamine dump looking to get the fix. So fast forward a little bit. I move out of my parents' house at 20. Actually, my parents got divorced right after I left. So I wasn't in the divorce household. It probably would have been better if I did. It's one of those instances. I knew what was coming. I heard my mom was divorcing my dad all the time. It was whatever. I get a job.
I come from divorce household, and so I never know what you always assume the grass is greener, but I'll never know.
Yeah, I'm not going to assume that the grass is greener, but it certainly wasn't green hearing your parents argue all the time and your dad cussing your mom out and your mom saying, I hate you and I can't wait till I don't need you to pay my kids' bills anymore. And
yeah, definitely not healthy.
No, not at all. Not at all. So I move out and I break ties of the very strict religion that we were raised in. And I had a good job, had a car, medical benefits, all that. I was 20 years old, living my dream.
Nice.
I don't have to answer to anybody. I can do whatever I want. So I started drinking and started smoking weed and started enjoying life like a 16-year-old normally would, but responsibly going to work. And this was an interesting part of the story. I don't know if it made or broke me. But the first month I was there, I was having a blast. I go to pay my phone bill the next month, and I'm like, oh, I got money for my phone bill, or I got money for beer and weed this weekend. What do I do? I picked the beer and weed that weekend.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I immediately went out and got a second job, right? So I had the work ethic. I had the maturity to know what I needed to do.
I can empathize with that entirely.
But what did I do? I went to work at a nightclub. So I was working at the party. So my early 20s were all party. Always maintained my job because I had good work ethic. I was a hard partier. Met my now wife, probably at the cusp of me going down the drug rabbit hole because I was dabbling in some things and, doing my thing and had a reason to focus on something else now. So I started focusing on her very quickly. I knew I was going to marry her. Good relationship. And got married. Pregnant on the honeymoon. First kid. Bought the condo. Second kid. Third kid. Fourth kid. All in 10 years. We had 4 kids. But every free minute I had, I was handling my responsibility. I had the house, I had the wife. I was a good dad at surface society level. And all my free time was, I've earned the right to sit on the couch and drink, smoke a little bit of weed, watch TV, and do nothing else with the rest of my time. I was a hard partier in control, handling my responsibilities. Few incidences here and there, arguments with the wife, stuff like that, but nothing crazy.
No DUIs, no jail time, no fun like that.
Nah, no DUIs, no jail time, nothing like that.
Salute to you, man.
I got really lucky. I wasn't stupid until probably the last, I'd say 2017, 2018. That's when the life of quiet desperation set in. That's when I put on a lot of weight. I was working, I would come home and I would eat, and I got rear-ended when we were coming home from dinner one night. My wife was 5 months pregnant in the front seat, had a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old in the back seat. We're waiting to take a left into a grocery store to get some candy for my pregnant wife. I saw it coming, so I locked up. Boom. I got 2 herniated discs in my neck. Oof. I'll take the pain and suffering all over again because my wife was fine. The baby in her belly was fine. The 2 kids in the back were fine. But I tried for like a year to rehab that without surgery. A little bit of pain pills, lots of muscle relaxers, had a high stress, high pressure sales job. We were on the phone 8 hours out of a 10-hour day. I couldn't function with the muscle relaxers in me, so I would just grit and bear it. That's what I do. I've always been the man that carried the weight for his family. No ifs, ands, or buts. One day I decided my neck is killing me. I got a headache. I can't deal with this. I'm going to pop the pill a half hour before quitting time. That's great. That worked for a little bit. And then I got the bright idea one day, you know what? Over the weekend when I had a really bad neck ache, I had a couple beers. That made me forget about the neck. Everything was fine. Yep. So I popped the pill a half hour before. And again, just a muscle relaxer, nothing narcotic. Go to the liquor store. I buy a beer. Drink that on the hour ride home. Well, that worked. I'm going to do that tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Do that tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow. Okay, it's not working anymore. I think I need a nip. Long story short, for the better part of a year, my ride home was 5 nips of Jim Beam and a tall boy of 9%. And I knew what mile marker, which nip was going down.
Which tall boy?
Natty Daddy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. My poison was Steel Reserve. I got to the point where I liked that stuff.
They only sell those in 40s here. They don't sell those in tall boys in Connecticut.
Oh, yeah, because I used to be able to walk to 7-Eleven and I could get a tall boy of Steel Reserve for 99 cents.
Yeah.
They were cheaper than energy drinks, cheaper than like a bottle of water. So I was like, yep, I'll take 2. And if you chug the first one, you can't really taste the second one.
The 40 ounce in Connecticut at the time was $1.99. So a good Friday night would be 2.99 nips of Jim Beam, a 40 of Steel Reserve, good old 311, and 211, and a little bit of weed, and that was my Friday night.
Yep.
So anyway, that was my first taste with problematic drinking, and I stopped myself. I said, you know what? You can't keep doing this. I got surgery to fix the neck. I woke up the next day. Everything was all the pins and needles were gone. I had to recover from that. I had plenty of pain meds from that. Went back to work, started that drinking habit on the ride home again. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? You can't do this. And I actually stopped it. I stopped it. I was still partying on the weekends, but I stopped that habitual Friday or Monday through Friday ride home drunk. It was.
Did you end up going harder on the weekends? Looking back,
the weekends were just what they were. There was no harder. I just took care of myself on the weekends. As soon as the kids were about to go to bed, you'd pour the first glass of whiskey. Once the kids were in bed, and my wife likes to drink with me. She didn't have the problem. And at the time, I can't even say that I had the problem. It was creeping up and becoming a problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So had an incident. I think it was the summer of 2016 at my cousin's birthday party. I was going to the car with my cousin and taking swigs of Jim Beam. Tried to drive home, got the keys ripped out of my hand. We're arguing, family's got to separate us, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of time off. And I did. I took a little bit of time off. Oh, you're okay to drink. Christmas is coming. Christmas party. I made a complete ass out of myself at my friend's house. Like blackout. I wake up with the keys
Ooh.
being wrenched out of my hands from my wife. Try to drive home. I think God intervened that night because I drove a Jeep that the cylinder locked up. I couldn't turn the key. I had to get the car towed the next day. But that was two bad incidences in 3 months. And, the poor me's and the I'm sorry's. And, there had been a couple times where it wasn't that bad, but those were the two icings on the cake, if you will. So I'm not drinking anymore. I quit. I'm not going to drink anymore. So 2017 starts. No alcohol for Christmas Day, no alcohol for New Year's, none of that stuff. And it's about February. And my wife brings it up. Best intentions. She's not enabling. She's not anything. She's like, how you doing, staying away from the drink? I'm like, I'm okay. I don't really miss, being messed up. I don't really miss being drunk. I just miss a glass of wine and a steak. I miss a beer and a burger, She goes, yeah. I think you're a guy that learns from his mistakes. I think you'll be okay. You want to, try just monitoring it and, see if you can learn from your lessons. And I was like, there's my in. I remember that specifically, thinking there's my in. But to my credit, but also to my craftiness, I will say this honestly. I said, but I want to take the full year as an act of discipline. I want to prove to myself that I can take a full year without alcohol, even giving the option, and not drink. She's like, that's pretty cool. And I only told her and anybody else this after I really got sober this time around. I traveled for business about 5-6 times a year. And you're damn right, Bjorn. Every time I had that hotel to myself, there was a bottle of Canadian Club and a 24-pack of Heinekens in the fridge. And I sat in my room and I got messed up and I ate my pizza and whatever takeout food, whatever. And as soon as I got back, went back on the wagon, if you will. But I took that year. And then, okay, I'm going to start drinking beer again, start doing this. And that was good until about the beginning of 2019. Beginning of 2019, I started I need a little more than beer, but I can't drink liquor in front of her. When I was out with my friends, I was drinking liquor. When I was at, my shows, I was drinking liquor.
Yep.
So then I started hiding nips in my backpack. I carry a backpack everywhere I go. It's got, medicine, paperwork, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's where it started creeping up. That's really where the problem started. Any event we went to, I had 3 or 4 or 5 dips of 99-cent vodka in there with my 6-pack of 9% IPA. I'm drinking the 9% IPAs. Oh, I got to go to the bathroom. Hide them under the garbage. Yep. You know the whole routine, bro. I don't got to tell you.
I did the same exact thing. And it was actually, it was on the previous episode. I told the dude, Nick, all about it. Not really many people at my work bought cigarettes, but I had cigarettes, and my boss and a couple other people would buy them off me for $1 a piece. And I was like, sweet, because I'd take all of those dollars, go to the liquor store, get the little Kharkov or Popov or whatever it was, the little dollar shots of vodka, and I'd have like 7 or 8 of them. I drink 2 or 3 of them before I even left the liquor store parking lot, and then drive across the street, because literally the apartment was 500 yards away from the liquor store. 2 or 3, chuck them in the dumpster so I didn't have to hide them, get to the parking lot of the apartment, 1 or sometimes 2 more, and throw them in the trash can that was in the parking lot on the way up there. So by that time, I had only like 2 left.
Yeah.
And I would just keep them in my pocket. Then we'd get ready and go out to the bar, and, I'm going to go outside and have a cigarette. And I would go out and have another one, and then go back into the bar and have my one drink that I was nursing along with everybody else.
I know exactly. We're different, but we're the same. You know what I mean? We got the same story. So that started creeping up pretty quickly, to the point where we'd be at parties and I'd be risking, I'll make you a drink, and I'd over pour before I put the mixer in it. And, and then, a couple drunk nights, I almost got caught swigging out of a bottle of tequila at my cousin's house that was on the wall for decoration. Stupid
nice
shit,
one.
Man. Stupid shit. So fast forward, COVID hits. Now I've got a drinking problem. I just haven't recognized it yet. But I've earned the right to drink mixed drinks with my wife, because we took a trip to Vegas 6 months before. I'm not drinking beer in Vegas, baby. I just can't. I can't maintain a buzz all day drinking beer in Vegas, because I was kind of into fitness at that point, but not really. As much as I understood it at that point. I'm going to drink vodka tonics. I've had mixed drinks around you before. It's okay. And that was fine. There was no issue. Partied in Vegas without any issue, which came home, and now I have the right to do this at home. COVID hits.
Okay.
I have the right to drink. My wife's enjoying a glass of tequila with me, fairly frequently. I'll have one, maybe two, and we stop. COVID hits. She's coming home with cases of champagne that she likes to drink, cases of the tequila, cases of the vodka. We're stacking up, right?
Oh,
We're stacking up. So we would have drinks
yeah.
every night. That's what we all did. I mean, not you, because you were sober before that.
At that time, yeah.
But
But I
dude,
love how COVID, like, you couldn't go to a restaurant, you couldn't be near people, you couldn't go to church in some places, but the liquor stores stayed open for sure.
well, yeah. And I had a friend in the health industry explain to me exactly why. So not to be all tinfoil hatty, and I can be as tinfoil
No.
hatty as you want to be, because I am that guy. But they wanted us weak. They wanted
Oh,
us
1,000%.
okay. But he said that, Teddy, if we close liquor stores with the influx of patients from the COVID and all the people sick, if we close liquor stores, the parking lot would have been jam packed full of people detoxing off alcohol. We would have been overrun with detox and sick and dying people from withdrawing from alcohol.
Oh, okay. I would have thought, I mean, there may have been an upheaval had they actually closed the liquor stores as well.
I agree with that.
But yeah, that makes sense.
I agree with that. Yeah, I never thought about that, but you're 100% right. They didn't care that they couldn't shop at their mom and pop stores, only Walmart and chain brands. But if you close their liquor stores, that's when the people stand up and riot.
Oh, yeah.
I never thought about that. I never thought about that.
Keep them numb and dumb, which is fine, because either it was a ploy to keep us dumb and numb, or it was, we can't do that because shit'll go sideways.
Yeah. I never thought about that. That's a great point. That's a very good point. So COVID hits. We're drinking hard for the first month, and all the pressures and this and that. After week 3, you're like, okay, what's going on? Now the anxiety starts to build up, and I'm drinking a little more. She's drinking a little more. We're eating a lot. The arguments get a little more intense. And, COVID is what sent me all the way down the bottle. I was a heavy drinker, barely in control before COVID, and I fell all the way down the bottle when COVID hit. So we drank all through that summer. Christmas time comes around. I put on 50 pounds again from even being kind of healthy before. I'm back up over 300.
Damn.
Yeah, I was 370 at my worst.
No, I see the pictures, but like looking at you now, dude, it looks like a completely different person.
That guy's dead. I am a completely different person.
Good. Cheers to that.
So Christmas rolls around. We got the Christmas week off from work. All right. Sober January. I feel like crap. I got to do something. I got to get back in the gym. I put weight on. The gyms are now open. You got to wear a mask, but I got to do something, even though I was the anti-mask guy. I got to sober up a little bit because I can feel that this is not good for me. So I take January of 21, dry January. I grin and bear it. I knuckle down. She doesn't want to stop drinking with me. But again, she doesn't have the problem.
Yeah.
I was surprised that she didn't want to do a little focus on it, but no harm, no foul. Knowing what I know now, my disease, and I don't like using that term, but was doing push-ups in the parking lot, right? Every single day I thought about drinking. But nope, you're not going to do it. You're going to eat better. You're going to go to the gym. You've only got 30 days. You can do this, and then you'll reestablish some healthier habits. I was so obsessed with Friday night. My buddy Jack, we had cigar night in his greenhouse every Friday night. He was a drinking buddy, friend of my daughter's. We met over the COVID lockdowns, a safe place to go. Our daughters played together. He was my drinking buddy, and he lives a minute and a half from my house. So I could drive home like this and be okay. You know what I mean? That's not okay, but in our minds, that was okay. So I make it to Friday night, February 1st. I go to the liquor store. I get my 6-pack of 9% IPAs. I buy I would always show up at his house with my IPAs and a half pint of vodka. That night, I got 2 half pints of vodka and a 6-pack of the IPAs. Before I even got to his house, 3 sips. Go. I've arrived, right? I didn't even want my drinking buddies to see how I drank.
Dude, I used to keep a plastic pint in my back pocket at all times. Plastic because I could drop it and not worry. and in my back pocket, so I didn't give a fuck. And then when I went to work, I would just keep it in my locker, and then I'd put Listerine strips. And then it transformed into 100 proof peppermint schnapps so I could drink it, and you couldn't tell. I thought you couldn't tell.
You thought
everybody knew, but you could.
Yeah, that's funny. So I black out that night within like the first hour of being there because he's got the homemade grappa from his uncle and he's got this to taste. And I'd gone through 3 Friday nights without drinking and they're teasing me and making fun of me and why are you doing this and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, just, leave me alone. I'm good. I'll make it. I'm going to make it 30 days. And I did. Yeah. So that night everything's pouring. I black out to the point where my buddy, I didn't know this until later. He followed me home that night because he wanted to drive me home. And I was like, nope, I'm only a minute away, blah, 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 blah. My drinking buddy was worried about me driving home. So Friday night, February 1st of 21, I drank straight through until I got sober every single day. At a minimum, a day would be a half pint and 2 or 3 9% beers. And I say at a minimum like it's nothing, but you say that to the person that doesn't think like us, and they're like, dude, I'd be on the floor. They're like, wow, that's a lot. I'm like, no, that was to keep the shakes away at 5 o'clock.
Yep.
A couple of beers at dinner. Okay, tonight's not a drinking night, but I got to have something.
Yeah.
And then, then I got seen as my kids saw me with a beer in my hand all the time for, that whole period. And it got worse and worse and worse. And I obsessed with it. And okay, you going to the photography studio today, honey? What time are you leaving? I'm looking over there because that's where the door to my office is. All right. She'd leave at 9:30 to go to her studio. All right, it's 10 o'clock. She didn't forget something and she's not coming back. I wasn't drinking till later. I never woke up and drank until the very, very end. But I would go down to the liquor store when it was safe. I would buy my half pint because I always had the beers in the fridge. And I would hide it in my waste paper basket over here next to me between the liner and the thing. So if you looked at my basket, there's nothing. Who's going to look behind the liner? But that was my thing. I was so obsessed. One of the most obsessive moments that I had was on a trip to Maryland to pick up a truck for my 16-year-old son who he actually a good kid. He was buying and selling trucks on Facebook Marketplace before he even had his license. So we take a family night overnight trip, go down there, pick up a truck. All right. We're going to get some takeout, honey. I'm going to go grab some beer from the liquor store. And you want a bottle of wine, right? Yeah, of course. Okay. Well, 2 of my kids want to come with me. So now I got to figure out how I'm going to buy my nips without the kids seeing me. I got it done. But I'm scared to buy more than the nips that I can drink quickly in front of them, right? So I only buy, I think, 3.
Yep.
And all right, we're back at the room. I realized, those nips didn't get me how I want to get. Okay, when I go pick up dinner, I'm going to stop at a liquor store and get the rest of what I need. Of course, my little 6-year-old girl, Daddy, I want to go for the ride with you. And I do everything in my power not to let this go. No, I got to I run out of excuses why my kids couldn't run errands with me anymore at home.
Yeah.
Because I knew what I wanted to do. And some of them were too old to, no, I want a lollipop if you're going in that store. And then come home with a lollipop. Mommy knows what I was doing.
Yeah.
Right? I'd run out of excuses. That's actually one of the things that I had to really deal with working through my resentments was forgiving myself for how much time my children wanted to spend with me innocently. And I made excuses to protect my drinking. That was a very hard part of my recovery initially. A very hard part. I realized how much time I wasted with them as little kids that just wanted to be with their dad. I'm past that now. I got a little somber with that, but it still brings up a little, but that was a lot to process. I can't get that time back. So now I do everything I can in my power to make it up. But so that night, she wins the battle. She's coming with me. All right. She's young enough where she doesn't know it's a liquor store. I'll just find one, bounce in real quick, leave the car locked. It's Baltimore and their hours are different than ours. And there's no liquor store open.
Oh.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I see right next to the pizza joint, there's a bar. Okay. There's an ATM on the sidewalk. And again, the trickery, dude. Stealing money out of your kid's piggy bank and then putting it back a week later, because your wife can't see the ATM withdrawal, right? But the trickery here, okay, there's an ATM there. I know that I have the PIN to my HSA health savings account card and I can pull cash out to reimburse me. I'll just pull cash out so she doesn't see 20 coming out of the account. The ATM wouldn't accept that card. I sat there though, dude. This is again, I'm over it now because I've processed it and I've healed from it. I sat there and I was this close to leaving my 6-year-old girl in a dark parking lot in Baltimore so I could go to the bar real quick with a different credit card my wife doesn't have access to and buy a couple doubles real quick and shoot them down so I can go back to the hotel with the buzz that I wanted. And something didn't let me do that. I'll call it God at this moment. But
you,
the
you
fact
got
that I
blocked a few
sat
times that night from something or God.
yeah, probably. Yeah, definitely. Not probably. Definitely.
Yeah, you got blocked a few times.
But if that ATM would have worked, I would have gone inside and done that.
Mm-hmm.
It was the chance that my wife might have looked at that credit card statement down the road and caught me. Right? I wasn't willing to get caught by my wife being a sneaky drunk again, but I was willing to leave my 6-year-old daughter in a locked car in Baltimore at night.
Yeah.
Who does that?
I can't tell you how many times I've tried to weigh the lesser of two evils to get myself a fix.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
So I drank for hard like that and, starting to become an idiot. My wife wasn't giving me problems with it anymore. I was drinking my whiskey on the weekends, drinking my vodka on the weekends, drinking my beer every night. I thought I was getting away with hiding how drunk I was every day. When I had the whole rip the Band-Aid off I'm sober story, that I wasn't getting away with it. She was just, nope. I knew something was going on with you. I knew it was drinking. I didn't know how bad it was until you just told me. But I had said, I got to focus on myself and personal growth. And you're going to do what you're going to do. I got to leave you alone because nagging you makes a disruptive house for the kids. I can't put my kids through that. So what I thought I was getting away with, my wife was protecting the family's peace. So that
had to have been a little painful to hear for the first time.
It was very painful to hear for the first time. But I needed it when I heard it.
Yeah.
I needed it when I heard it. My rock bottom was April 20th of 22. Down here sitting at this very desk, working. Instead of starting to drink at 4 to go upstairs for dinner at 5:30, I started at 3 that day. I already had the vodka down. I'm nice and buzzed. Okay, now I'm 4 beers deep instead of 2 beers. So I go upstairs and I'm Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde at the table, laughing one minute, screaming about being disrespected, and you watch your mouth the next minute. My whole family's, what is going on? And my wife says something that kind of ticked me off, and I slapped a plastic glass of water across the table. I spilled it everywhere. And she had enough. She got up and went to the bedroom. And I followed, boom, 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 boom. Carl, we're not done with this, blah, 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 blah. They can't hear us. We're in our bedroom. My son was 17 at the time. 16, 17? 17. I've been working out with his football buddies. He's 6'1" at the time. He's a big beast now. He's 6'3". He basically kicked my bedroom door open and said he had enough of the way I was talking to his mother and stepped up to fight me like a man. I get in his face, blah, 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 and he heave-hoes me and pushes me across the room. I'm off balance. I fall on the bed. Bjorn, as I can tell you now, it was God. I charged him. I know how to handle myself. I was a bouncer. I fought as a kid. Grew up in a pretty rough neighborhood sometimes. Just before I get to him, I can tell you now that it was God's voice in my head. You cannot do this. This is your son, and what you'll have to do, this fat, out of shape, drunk, to take him down, you can't do to another man without bad conscience, never mind your own son. And I stopped just short of him. I turned around to walk away, and he heave-hoed me again, and I went flying on the bed. I kept my calm and kept my composure. I grabbed my backpack and my keys, and I headed out the door. Fuck this. Where'd I go, bro? Take one guess.
Bar.
No, I never drank at bars. Too expensive. I don't want to be around people.
Liquor store?
Home. It's a liquor store. Got a pint. Didn't need that pint. But I drove 5 minutes. I drove back close to where my house is. There's a nice scenic overlook to the valley.
Yeah.
Dusk, beautiful sunset. I'm drinking, F this family, F this, blah, 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 blah. They're only nice to me when they want rides someplace or when I'm paying a bill or taking them on vacation. They only want me for my money.
Poor me, poor me, poor me.
Poor me, poor me. All between swigs. Yep. They only want me for my money. I'll give them what they want. I got $1 million life insurance policy, and I took a big, long pull off that, and I stuck a gun in my mouth. And it was the clack of the metal on my teeth that shook me to my core. It was only in my mouth for like a second, right? It was only very, very, very quickly. I realized what I had done in the bottom that I had hit. I opened my door and I vomited everywhere. And I sat in my car going for an hour and I sobbed painfully. I never sobbed painfully like that. I knew I had a problem at that point, and I'd been thinking about it, and I've been trying to go to the store and not buy the vodka. Okay, and give me a half pint. I'll just buy 2 nips. I've been trying to fix my own problem for a while. You understand. Anybody listening to this, if it's you understand. And if you don't understand and you're feeling it, trust me, I know what you're feeling.
Yep. We negotiate with ourselves so much. When it gets to that point, it's an everyday constant negotiation.
I couldn't stop it. If I didn't buy that half pint and I bought 2 nips, 10 minutes down the road, I stopped at another store and bought the other 3 nips.
Yep.
And actually maybe 4, so I was actually drinking more. Right?
Oh, I even got to the point where I would go to different liquor stores because they got to know me, and I was like, I can't have them judging me. I don't give a fuck about these people, but like they know me. I can go in for like a pint or so there, but I have to go to a different one to get more because I don't want these guys who don't give a shit about me judging me.
Yeah. I think my rag, and I kept count. My record was 5 liquor stores in the same time in one day. Yeah, all for 2 nips at a time, 3 nips at a time. But I can't go back to that one. You got a problem if you go back to the same guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
so that was April 20th of 22, and I knew I had a problem and I knew I had to do something about it. But I still drank for the next 3 days, because my birthday was April 15th. That rock bottom was April 20th, and we had a delayed birthday party at my house on April 23rd. Now I got the right to drink. I got the right to hang out. And there was no problem that night. Everything was good. Everything was great. One of my very best friends from early teenage years was hanging out late. It's just me and him smoking a cigar, drinking beers. He'd been trying to get me involved in a side business for months. And he's kind of getting it off the ground. But every time I go to focus on it, I'll start working on that after I have a couple drinks. And then I'll have a third one. And by the third one, I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow. I just kept kicking the can down the road. So he's trying to get me talking about this again. We're talking all the business details. And he goes, you know what we got to do to make this work? And I stopped. I said, yeah, I know exactly what I got to do to make this work. I got to get sober. He's like, yeah, we'll talk about this tomorrow. I'm like, no, dude, I got to get sober. And because of the brother he is and how safe I felt, I dumped everything. I mean, everything. And he looked at me, he's like, damn, bro, I didn't know it was like that. I knew you like to drink. Damn. I'm like, yeah. He told me I got to talk to my wife. And like, I started crying. She's going to hate me, blah, 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 blah. And when my wife comes out, and right as we finish talking about it, she comes outside and she goes, hey, you guys going to hang out for a little bit? I'm like, yeah. Okay. Teddy, pour us some shots. My wife hasn't asked me to pour shots in years. I pour some shots. We do some shots. We drink some more beers. We finish the night. I go to bed at like 3:00 in the morning. She's her church photographer, so she had to get up at 6:30. Alarm goes off. I'm like, oh, that alarm. She leaves, go makes her coffee, and she's sitting in the living room doing her thing. And I'm like, all the conversation from the night before is ringing in my head. It's just ringing in my head. It's our 18th wedding anniversary today. There was something different about that conversation last night. Maybe you should call your next door neighbor, who is a very stoic, non-judgmental, non-preachy AA guy. And, they say it's a program of attraction, not shoving it down your throat, right?
Yep.
All right, I got to call. No, dude, you feel like crap. Do this tomorrow. I went to kick the can down the road. And I was just like, if you don't do it now, you're not going to do this. It's your anniversary. Yep. You got to do so. You stuck a gun in your mouth a couple of days ago. So how much more of this can you take?
Yep.
You're not sleeping, you're snoring, you're like, everything is horrible. I'm super fat again. And I text him. I'm like, hey, Dave, I need your help. Give me a call when you get a chance. Expecting he would call me later. 15 seconds go by. He calls me. Hey, bud, what's up? I'm like, Dave, long story short, it's my 18th wedding anniversary. I'm a functioning alcoholic and I don't want to do this anymore. And that's all I said.
Yeah.
And he's like, actually, I said, I need help. I don't want to do this anymore. I said those words. I need help. He's like, I'm going to a meeting. Be in the park. Be in my driveway in 10 minutes. And my 18th
Nice.
wedding anniversary, my wife was at church. I walked in still pretty drunk from the night before, crying like a baby, judgmental as all hell that I'm in this room of degenerates that I don't belong in. And why am I here? I know I need help, but what is this about? Blah, 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 the whole 9 yards.
Yep.
And little did I know that one ask for help sent me on a trajectory that, dude, sitting here, it's the only reason I know you. It's the only reason we're having this conversation is because I have built a life beyond my wildest dreams. And I know there is so much more in front of me. From one simple decision of saying, I don't know what to do, I need help.
Yep. I can say the exact same thing, man. That's the only reason that I am still here and that I am here talking to you.
Yeah. And well, I compound that is because we know each other through this great coaching program that you and I are both doing. I got sober. I put the booze down. I worked the steps begrudgingly, like everybody kind of does. But then I said, I got nothing to lose except, a bad life. But I found myself 3 years sober, not really thinking about booze. 3 months sober, not really thinking about booze anymore. I'd lost the obsession.
Yeah.
But I was still the same angry, victim mindset, lazy, procrastinating person. I just wasn't drunk all the time, so I felt everything.
Yeah.
And so I was like, my sponsor's name is Dave. I'm like, Dave, I got a problem. I'm obsessed with not drinking more than I was obsessed with drinking, and it's making me angry. And he goes, good. You're ready for recovery. I'm like, what's that? And he goes, that's the next step. He goes, now you're ready to take your sobriety and actually do something with it. He goes, now I'm going to show you how you can figure out how to build the life of your wildest dreams. And that's when we really dug into the steps. And that's when I really started fixing myself and understanding that I was the problem, not the booze. The booze was a symptom of my problem. He's got a great tagline. It's said in all the rooms around this area because of him. Maybe it's even made its way out to you in Minnesota. I came for my drinking. I stay for my thinking. I haven't thought that a drink was a solution to my problem in years. But I still go to an AA meeting roughly every week because it reminds me that it was my mind that was wrong, that if I practice these principles in all of my affairs, that I get to pick how I get to show up, and how I show up is the life that I get to live. Right? So I've had the distinct honor of sponsoring several men successfully. Had a couple rough patches, it doesn't stick for everybody. But even better than that, and that's really the reason we are knowing each other and talking, is because I decided that I can be whoever I want to be without alcohol in my mind. I want to get fit and healthy for real. So I started going down that self-growth category. I started learning about nutrition. I started learning about real physical fitness, not just showing up at the YMCA, walking on a treadmill and pushing a couple weights around. I started really putting a life-changing program for myself together. And you've seen my pictures. I've done a complete physical transformation. I never thought, even in the first couple months of sobriety, I never thought I could be physically who I am today. Right? But I just kept pushing and kept pushing. And then I started working with guys who were basically like me. And so I'm like, you know what? Instead of me having a problem with it just being a sober only program, why don't I also do what Dave did for me and show people what I did with it? And if they want that, we can start doing that. And I've helped a bunch of guys transform, lose weight, fix their diet and nutrition. I went through a shit ton of work working on my marriage and owning my shit and realizing who I needed to be to show up. Started passing that information along to the point where a lot of people were like, dude, you should be a coach. You should talk to people about your story and how you fixed yourself. You've got a lot of knowledge, lived experience. You're not just some doctor or somebody sitting on the side of a couch that is telling people what they should do that have lived a perfect life. You've walked through that fire.
Yep.
I'm like, huh. So I started thinking about it and just wasn't ready. I took a couple calls with a couple coaches and over like a 1.5 year period, and nothing felt right, but I just kept progressing. I kept progressing my physical fitness. I kept progressing my mental awareness. my stoicism of what it means to be a man and who I want to be, and shifting a positive mindset and all that stuff, to the point where people really enjoyed me being around for me and what I offered, instead of me being the funny drunk guy that loved everybody and was entertaining and nice.
Yep.
Now people really valued what I brought because I valued myself. You probably responded to the same ad that I did, because I used a lot of the words that Justin used in that ad. And when I saw that ad, there was something about it. I took the call, the click was there, and it's been 3.5 months with you guys, and it is a family fit. I have never felt more driven personally to grow myself, never mind to grow a business. I am having so much fun building this business, but also just helping other people in a capacity where I can't say I was ashamed, like I was telling people what to do, because I always help somebody. But now I have confidence and understanding that I needed to be broken down and rock bottom from that point.
Yep.
To rediscover what my divine purpose really was. And that's to spread as much love and light, and to help heal people, and to help men and women, for that matter, find their self-love, their value, and hopefully start a ripple effect with everybody I touch to be the change in the world that I want to see.
Exactly.
And it's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I've rambled quite a bit, so I'm sure you have some questions.
Dude, you're good. I do have some questions. Give me 30 seconds. I'm gonna run to the bathroom really quick.
Take your time, dude.
Bunch of coffee at work today, and then my NA beers. Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's an amazing story. I'm blessed to be able to have been told it face to face. So I mean, digitally face to face. Maybe someday we'll get to shake hands. That'd be sweet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I do want to go back, because one of the things like that I focus on, both in myself and understanding and using that to help others, is the negotiation aspect of it. Like we are such intelligent individuals that I can go back with the work habit. Yes, I want to party this hard, so I'm going to get a second job so I can afford it. I mean, at one point I was working in 3 different kitchens and making a bunch of money, buying, selling cocaine, smoking all the weed, doing drugs, and I was great. Life was awesome. It was in my 20s, and like I could go for days. But near the end, yes, I wanted to circle back to the negotiation part. Like, if I can go here, it's going to be okay. Like, how do you still see that creep up on you at times today?
See what?
Negotiation. Like, self-negotiation. Like, well, I don't need to. And I mean, you're a powerful example of transformation and confronting yourself on a lot of things: the weight, the alcohol, the relationship. That is beautiful. During those times of reconciliation, both with self and the world around you, did you experience the pull to find an easier, softer way? There's the beautiful way of saying it, as that we both know.
Without sounding like an egomaniac, no, because I had lived such a life of comfort and procrastination that when I started doing the step work and really understanding that I needed to reframe my thinking completely,
yeah,
I got into guys like David Goggins and Jocko and stuff like that, and I made it 100% intention. After I learned from I don't know, Andrew Huberman's one of my favorite scientists, because he's like a bro, but he just makes science sound fun and explains the why. I'm a guy that needs to know why. Quick example of that, like
Yep.
once I realized I had a problem snoozing my alarm clock and it wasn't just being weak. When you snooze your alarm clock, you're going back to sleep for 8 minutes. You fall back asleep, and this is Andrew Huberman. You fall back asleep, but your brain starts a 45-minute sleep cycle that even when you wake up 8 minutes later, your brain still has to complete that. So you're going to be groggy anyway. Whereas if you just get up when the alarm clock goes off, yeah, it's going to suck for the first 3 to 5 minutes, but then you're awake and your brain starts to function and you start to do this. When I heard the why behind I shouldn't snooze anymore, oh, that makes sense to me. I'll do it. So I was listening to those Jockos and Goggins and Huberman, and I learned about neuroplasticity, that we are meat computers, that we can literally reprogram ourselves to do anything we want. So I set off on a mission. I'm not going to drink anymore. That's a hard rule. I'm not doing this. And knock on wood, no relapses, no nothing in 4 years. None of that.
Good.
So I set my mind. I made a decision. I made a choice that I was going to become a disciplined, honest man. Right? Here's the thing, Bjorn. In all of my years, I was a stand-up guy. Everybody loved me. Everybody trusted me. If I told you I would do X, Y, and Z with your money, your house, your wife, whatever it was, I would do it. I was a trustworthy person. I kept my word.
Yeah.
The only person I ever lied to was myself. I'll go to the gym tomorrow. Oh, you had a few beers last night. You'll start Tuesday. Oh, you had a few beers Monday night watching football. Don't go on Wednesday. You'll start next week. So on and so forth. You were good for 2 days, but then they had brownies at work and bagels and you went off your diet. You can go off your diet for the rest of the week. You'll start again Monday. I only ever lied to myself. So part of the mindset rebuilding and restructuring of recovery, not sobriety, was this is my 10th step to this day. At the end of the night, I look in my bathroom mirror and I ask myself one question. Were you a liar today? And I'm only asking that about myself. So the will to negotiate with that mindset was pushed out rather quickly because, like they talked about in the other call, if you keep showing up, the results have no choice but to show up.
Yeah.
And I remember having an aha moment in the gym one day. After weeks of crying, when I first started the fitness routine, I was going to the gym with my neighbor. I was getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, jumping in an ice bath to shock my system and do something I didn't want to do because I was just trying to do any and everything to establish discipline and fix your mindset and all this stuff. I'd show up at 4 o'clock. We'd start working out. I was like 4 months in, saw some transformation. I was tired. I was sore. I wasn't quite over the hump, and I was still, I can't say I was, I guess I was negotiating with myself. I don't want to finish this work today, but you said you were going to, you have to. I don't want to come here tomorrow sore and beat up, but you said you were going to, you have to. There were days I would sit in that gym and cry. Like literally cry like a baby.
I'm not saying the negotiation wins. I'm saying the conscious, that other train of thought, that other voice that says, well, there's a softer, you can avoid this. You could probably do it this way. Like to this day, I still have those thoughts. I just, my determination, my discipline, my love for my life is much stronger than that. But I still hear them.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So the short answer then is yes, of course. I have just established a subconscious mindset now that doesn't let that weak bitch win anymore.
Fair. Good. Yeah, same.
Yeah. And I credit that to David Goggins. There was a track that I listened to that was a 30-minute long, Jocko, Goggins, Eric Thomas, all these guys. It was one of those kind of, I listened to it for the 15-minute ride to the gym every morning on repeat. When it was over, I would listen to it again. I'd pick up where I left off the day before, over and over and over and over and over. And one night, I was going to bed 2 hours later than normal. I was probably going to get 4.5 hours of sleep that night. Knew I was meeting my buddy at the gym in the morning, and I keep my alarm on the across the room, so I have to get up out of bed. And I set it. I went to go put it down, and I said, "All right, if there's any reason for skipping tomorrow, it's 4.5 hours. You might not go to the gym tomorrow." But I was in that period of no excuses, like no excuses.
Yep.
And I started to negotiate. And I put the alarm down. And as I'm turning around to go to bed, I hear a line from that track, and it's David Goggins. What do you do on the days you're tired and you don't feel like doing it? You suck it the fuck up and do it. Stay hard. And I turned around and I set my alarm for 5 minutes earlier. And I stood at my bed and I said, when that alarm goes off, you are waking up. You are not snoozing. There are no excuses. You are going to the gym tomorrow. I laid down, passed out. That alarm woke me up. And every weak bitch personality in me was like, stay in bed, stay in bed, stay in bed. So I got up and I went to the gym. And that was probably one of the biggest victories because I had realized that the subconscious training I was doing was starting to be a defense mechanism for the active weak bitch mindset that was pervasive at the time, right?
Yeah.
And then
You're
it
gonna have to
started to
send me
catch
that
momentum.
track.
I will. I still have it. I send it to a lot of my friends. I send it to the guys that I start to work with now. I will definitely send it to you. It's called I forget the name of the track, but I'll send it to you. It's in my favorites on my YouTube playlist.
Nice.
I think it's called Unstoppable.
Okay. I think I'm familiar. I might have heard clips of it here and there, but yeah, send it to me. I love to dig the whole thing.
There's nothing original. You've definitely heard clips from it. Yeah, the negotiations are still alive even 4 years later, brother. Even 4 years later.
Oh,
you know, do I want that piece of cake?
12 years later, bro. Yep.
Yeah, I'm talking about for me. 3 years into this complete fitness transformation and clean eating lifestyle, like, all right, it's your daughter's birthday. Do you want that piece of cake? But it's not a sugar day. Can't have it. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes because of how far I'm down now and I know who I am and what my body's capable of handling, does the negotiation win or does, okay, your daughter is begging you to have a piece of cake with her on her birthday. You didn't get sober to miss a meeting for family events. You didn't get fit and have a metabolism that can handle a piece of cake, not 5 days in a row, right? Make your daughter happy. Have a small piece of cake. Do your thing. Do I call that the negotiation winning? Kind of. I call that reasonableness and balance in life.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But my daughter would be one of the only ones that would be able to do that. A coworker out to dinner at a trade show. Oh, come on. Let's have dessert. You went to the gym this morning. Nah, bro, I'm good. Nope.
Yeah.
You have the dessert. I'll watch you.
We're not working this hard to just work this hard. We're working this hard to enjoy life.
Right.
Yeah. And if we remove the enjoyments of life for it, then there's no point.
But that does not include drugs and alcohol because I know how I want to drink. I know how I like to drink. I know how sneaky my mind can be convincing me things. It's one of those things, right? This is a little controversial, but it's my story. I refuse to say at this point in my recovery that I'm powerless over alcohol. I have all the power over the alcohol, asterisk, as long as I keep it out of my body. The second I take a sip of booze, it's going to give some of that power back, and it's a sneaky son of a bitch, and it's going to take and take and take and convince and lie. So that is a non-negotiable. Gotcha. I don't want to test that. I don't want to see how disciplined I am with that, simply because, sounding cocky, I probably have the discipline and mindset to keep that devil off my shoulder after a beer or two, but I don't want to waste the energy keeping that devil off my shoulder because that energy is going to be taken away from my relationship with my wife, my relationship with my kids, my commitment to my fitness, my commitment to helping other men. So even if I take the fuel tank down by 2%, that's 2% I can't give to somebody else. And I just don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
I get that entirely. I totally understand that. I've established my own, as we talked about on the phone the other day, I've established my own relationship with my distance from alcohol. And when I was still working in the restaurants, I taste here and there, but I know at my true core, what is my intent? And that was the big battle for me. And that was the epiphany, I guess, at like somewhere around 3 or 4 years sober. I'm a chef. Alcohol is part of the job to an extent, cooking with wine, cooking with bourbon, blah, 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 blah. And as an executive chef, we do pairings and blah, 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 and help the bartenders and stuff like that. So I reconciled it with myself. I spoke with my sponsor about it. He disagrees, but he's also the man of, you make whatever decision you want. You have to pay the consequences.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So, I do taste, but it's one taste. If it's a new cocktail mixture, wine, whatever, I'll take a little straw or a tiny little splash, just enough to get my tongue wet. But beyond that, it's not a taste. The intent has changed, and that's how I reconcile it with myself. And my sponsor calls drinking NA beer playing just the tip, because nobody wins.
Yeah.
I win. I drink NA beer now how I think normal people drink beer. I've been known to leave these hanging and not finish them, and I drink it purely for the taste. So, like, that's my win to me, is I
Yeah.
can enjoy the flavor of this without any expectations of it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I don't want to tell anybody else how to run their sobriety, and I hope vice versa. I am very interested in how other people view their own path, and everybody has their own path, obviously. But I love hearing about it, and to those who ask or to those who don't, sometimes I tell them my side.
Yeah. You're the creator of your own story. You are fully in control of your life and where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And you can choose to build it. You can choose to fuck it up. It's your
Yep.
choice. People can have opinions on it, but they certainly don't have a say in it.
Yep. 100%. And I like what you said. I've never really viewed it as where I'm at now of I don't think I'm powerless over alcohol anymore. And now kind of internalizing that thought, I am not powerless over alcohol. But I don't want to take that litmus test.
Well,
It's not
in the
worth
way
it.
I think you are completely in control, because you're, to me, the person that's not that says they're powerless over alcohol, and this isn't judging or telling anybody how to be sober. Get that right on the table.
Yeah.
For me, I don't want to live a life where if I walk into a room and I see a bottle on the table, I think a demon's hiding in the corner waiting to take me, and I got to get out of there.
Yeah.
That is powerless over alcohol.
Yeah.
I got the power to be comfortable at a bar with my friends and have a great time. I got the power to be comfortable pouring my wife a glass of champagne, and unlike before, taking as many sips without her noticing the glass was a little bit lower. I don't have that problem anymore because I have the power over it. It no longer has the power over me.
Yep.
Out of my body.
Agreed. Yeah.
Out of my body.
I like that.
I will tell you a very quick story about being in Jamaica 2 years ago. The groom and bride stopped drinking for other reasons than we do. Didn't realize that until he was having breakfast with us one day. She's back in the room. She had a couple drinks last night. She's not used to it, so she's a little slow. We're going to stop drinking when we get off the island, though. We're going to go back to our lifestyle. I'm like, for a split second, Bjorn, that sounds like a great idea. I'm 2.5 years sober.
Yep.
I've proven everything I've proven. I know I've got full control. I've got my wife's trust again. Blah, 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 blah. I'll stop drinking when I get off. I'll have a couple of drinks. And literally, he's over here. And that whole thought process is running through my head as I'm turning to gaze at my wife. And I look at my wife, and because of, again, I use this a lot because I believe it, the subconscious defense mechanisms that I have trained. I remembered hearing a share at a meeting one day where a girl said that she made it a lifelong amends to be the best person she could be to her parents because she put them through so much shit. And there were so many nights they didn't know if she was dead in a hospital somewhere or whatever the case may be, but it was a lifelong amends to her parents to be the best version of herself.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? My wife has dealt with a lot of things that a lot of people don't even know about. And I like that idea a lot. It's going to be my lifelong amends to just continue proving to my wife that I'm doing what I say I'm going to do. And it was that moment looking up at her that subconscious thought popped back into my head, smashed the idea that drinking on the island for the next 3-4 days was a good idea. And I said, are you crazy? Are you absolutely crazy that you would give that woman even a speck of fear in her heart that you might go back to the old you? Yeah. Even if she believes wholeheartedly 99% that you have discipline and you will do what you say you're going to do, does she deserve to feel one speck of fear and worry that I might not? No, can't do that. And the idea was gone in a half a second. The idea was gone. But here's the cool thing about that. I got to fester on that. Not the fester on I don't get to drink. I got to think about what could have been. And I know we're not supposed to play what ifs and what could have beens, but I sat there on the beach thinking to myself, dude, that was the best decision. I'm so glad I got that defense mechanism Because if I really think about this, I would have been like, hey, honey, I'm out. Do you want another one? I'll go to the bar and get us one. And while I'm getting one for her, I'm getting two for me, knocking one down, coming back. And it would have been a matter of a day before, hey, honey, I forgot something in the room. I'll be right back. And I'm hitting every bar at the resort until we get back. I saw that play out. I saw that play out in my head, the potential and what my old self, and the fact that the second I let the booze back in me, the power gets taken back. I played that out and I was so proud that I made the right choice. But I was also so proud that I made the right choice, being aware of what the old me probably would have allowed to happen. And it was just a further reinforcement. Keep that amends going. You don't need it because you're having a great, what is going to happen on this vacation that's already better than it is? You're waking up, you're going to the gym, you're having great time with your wife, you're making love before you go down to the buffet, you're eating your food, you go sit on the beach and hang out all day. How could I possibly want more than what's already on my table at the risk of being the old me? And then, I thought it through, but it was a celebration of some really good decision making.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I, different than you a bit. Relapse is definitely part of my story. And I know how that tape plays out because I've done it a few times. And that's what finally got to me to my end is I just fell to surrender and acceptance that I cannot live like this anymore.
Yep.
And I called my sponsor back, who I hadn't talked to in about 7 months because I went back out. And I was crying and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And he goes, I hope it fucking hurts enough this time.
Yeah.
And he was right. And he's still my sponsor to this day. But yes, it's crazy. It's amazing how we can recall that. Like, and it's part of the book. I forget what the book exactly says. Recall it or remember with, I don't know. Basically, we can remember our last drunk as if it were yesterday. And I used that tool for many years in the beginning of my sobriety.
But do we remember the romance part of the fun of that night? Or do we remember when it stopped being fun and the rock bottom bullshit, accountability that we had to go to? Because that's something that we talk about in our meetings a lot. Are we remembering the last drunk romantically, or are we remembering how the rest of that clip played out?
The last drunk was definitely not romantic. And I remember what I do remember of it. I remember that with severity, as honestly, it's nearly 13 years and I remember it like it was 2 or 3 days ago. It helps me because I know, because that last stint was 6 months. That's it. I had done 18 months before that on a court card. And right after the court card was done, I kind of missed weed. And I was in sobriety and I no problem. And I was going to meetings like, I kind of miss weed. We can smoke a little weed. I smoked weed and I was dumb. I couldn't even play video games and I hated it. But I still smoked again 2 days later. And then 3 days later, I think I'm going to try a beer. I could do one beer. It's fine. Heineken. Couple nights later, 6-pack of Heineken. Within 6 months, it had escalated right back to those 7 nip bottles, a bottle that I'm hiding, drinking nearly a liter of vodka every single day by myself, in addition to whatever we were doing at the bar and party. And I saved myself off for 2 days. My birthday. So my birthday is October 28th, my belly button birthday. I saved myself off for a couple days and I'm going to take it easy because I plan on going hard on my birthday. I went so hard. There's pictures that I don't remember. I tried to get in fights with random people. And then, so the next morning I took some to kill the shakes and get the edge off. So I don't count the 29th. The first full day that I was without liquor was October 30th, 2013. And that was that morning, or no, the 29th was when I called my sponsor and said, I can't do this. And then I had a couple shots to kill the shakes that morning. Went through that day. I think I might have had one more shot later that day to just calm down. And then the next morning I woke up and I didn't drink since. And I checked myself into a halfway house and separated with my ex. And what's that?
Did you have the mild DTs?
Mild. Like it was stomach, it was shakes for a while. I didn't have a steady hand for 6 months, and being a chef when you're doing nice plating sucks. Burn myself, cut myself regularly at work for a while.
Okay, I didn't. I had about a week of a mild flu.
Oh yeah, I
That's what
mean
it
my
felt like.
badness was about a week, but I didn't have a steady hand, and I couldn't like focus or sleep well for at least 6-8 months.
Okay.
But it was
I got into the sleep pattern very quickly because I used to just pass out drunk, and then when I
yep.
realized, oh, this is what sleep's supposed to feel like. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's great.
Yeah,
But
I
then
couldn't
I
shut
don't
my
know about
mind
you, but
off.
you didn't have the same addiction as I did. I found myself as addicted to sugar and sweets as bad as like, dude, like I remember the aha moment. I'm like, okay, now you got to do something with the recovery because I was watching TV, the same pocket that I hid my nips in the backpack when everybody went to bed. Okay, everybody's in bed. I'm 3 months sober, right? Everybody's in bed. Okay. Grab my 2 king size candy bars and a pack of cookies. I was doing the same freaking behavior with with
Dude,
sugar.
I definitely craved sugar for a long time. And I mean, I understand chemically so why now.
Yeah, me too. I'm more
we,
speaking about the addictive behavior. Like
oh yeah.
literally the same
Yep.
hiding patterns, the same.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'll go to the
Mm-hmm.
grocery store and buy a couple snacks and put them in my backpack when I got home. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
doing the same thing. I just replaced the vice.
The first person and the easiest person that we fool is ourselves. The first person that we lie to is ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't have to live that way anymore, bro. Isn't that great?
We don't. We don't.
Now we get to help other people break free from those chains we didn't think were unbreakable.
Yep.
And that is the best feeling in the world, helping somebody else to the point where it's kind of selfish because I love helping people so much because of how it makes me feel. But at the end of the day, I know it's not bad selfish because one of the things that makes me the happiest besides my wife and kids is I love watching other people win.
Yep.
I love watching other people win.
Yep. Yeah.
Not for the credit of, I helped them. I'm not that guy.
Bingo.
Because whenever I talk about the help that I give to people, I'm very, very careful to explain that I help them understand that they had the power to fix themselves and find who they wanted to be. Yep, I just helped them figure out the path, and they did the work, and they put the thought in, and they put the effort into all of it. Yep. I just got a little flashlight showing on the path.
Yep. I will lead any horse to water. I can't make it drink. Sometimes I might kick him in the ass so it gets his nose wet, but that aha moment, seeing that you helped guide somebody to, like I internally, yes, there's a little I wouldn't even call it an ego reward, but it makes me feel so good that I helped guide somebody there. Yeah. It's not something that I will talk about externally and like brag about, but I feel it internally like as a point of pride that I'm glad that I was able to show them the path, give them the steps, make them look at themselves in a different light in order to where A, they feel okay confronting it, and B, they realize that they do have the strength to confront it and walking through that. And then realizing the entire fucking world is in their palm.
In their palm. For the taking.
Yep.
For you can do and be anything you want in this crazy ass life we live. So go do something. Go do whatever you want.
Fucking A right.
Go do whatever you want. Just don't hurt anybody.
Right. Agreed.
Just don't hurt
Not yourself either.
No. That's
Not
anybody.
yourself.
That's anybody.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to circle back to one thing. Yeah. It was, you were talking about playing the tape out. And I had many opportunities.
Sponsee told me that, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody I was helping gave me that advice. Play the rest of that clip out.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that 100 times in meetings. I love it because it's helped me. But I've had those instances. I've been away for work for 2 months at a time, had the opportunities. I've been given hotel rooms from work. And it's like, I've had those thoughts play out. And the thing that stopped me, and I'll circle back to a little bit more why, but I don't want to hold on to that. No. I could have clearly got away with it. I just don't ever want to hold on to that because I'm planting a seed of a nasty fucking weed in my body, in my psyche, in my spirit that someday it's going to grow out. And I just don't want it.
Yeah,
I've
I'm with
had
you
too
on that.
many of those. I destroyed relationships with my family, 2 divorces, many lost houses, lost jobs. For many beginning years of my sobriety, I was an overly nice and caring person because of the guilt that I carried of how shitty of a person I was before.
Yes. Yes.
I've come to terms with that and realized that no, that was mostly because of my behavior and I felt the need to hide. I am genuinely a nice person and I care about those around me. So I've released myself from the guilt and I move forward.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to be of service to others. I'm happy to help God's lost children, God's found children, and all of those who just want to be better for themselves and don't know how to get there. So releasing that guilt was a huge thing. And
Yeah.
defining myself was a huge thing. And I'm sure it was for you too. Like, that's realizing that we carry the power to define ourselves is huge.
That's it. That's the key to all of it.
Dude, this has been a fucking awesome interview. This is really awesome.
I feel like I talked a little bit too much about myself, but again, this is what you're doing. You've got me on as the guest, but
the interview for you. Yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome, dude. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. You're changing a lot of people's lives. Like I told you on the phone the other day, my early days in sobriety, this is the kind of content that I decided to start to follow. And nobody holds a candle to what you're putting out. Your personal videos, your podcast clips. If I had seen this kind of stuff, maybe I would have launched into recovery a lot sooner, but no what ifs. But you are doing an amazing job. You are serving this world. And
Thank you.
A lot of people are going to be better because of the work that you're doing. So thank you. I'm appreciative of you, not only for having me on, but for the work that you're doing to make the world a better place.
Thank you very, very much, sir. I am praise beyond what I think right now, and I am still working at getting this whole thing off the ground, but I appreciate that immensely.
Yeah, man.
So right, for everybody who's still listening, thank you very, very much for listening to Teddy Roman and me, Bjorn Thompson, with episode 6 of the Crash Podcast. Before we fully wrap it up, Teddy, where can people find you? Because your content as well is inspiring.
Thank you. I'm on Facebook and Instagram under my name. Instagram is Teddy.Roman. Facebook is Teddy Roman. Easy to find. All my stuff is public, but yeah, check me out. Got questions? Bjorn's the man for the sobriety journey. You want to talk about health, fitness, nutrition? I've lost 150 plus pounds. I'm helping guys and women do the same thing. And I love watching people win. So I would love to help watch you win.
Awesome, man. Well, Teddy, thank you. Thank you again. And I guess I'll see you in the community because we're going to definitely stay in touch. Yes, and sir. Honestly, I think there might need to be a part 2 of your interview. Just a teaser because of the phone conversation we had the other day. And it might be a shorter one, but getting into the difference on belief of recovery versus recovered. I love your perspective and I want to dig deeper and help refine my own.
I'm here for all of that, man, because that is a passion of mine.
Oh, I like it. I really like your perspective. Right now, I'm holding my own definition of it, but I really like your perspective. And I'm open to change, too. So
as am I. Critical thinking, open heart and mind is what makes a strong man stronger. I am never too stuck in my ways to say my way's the right way. I know best. I know what's best for me and what I believe in, what I think. But if I'm always willing to entertain and listen to new ideas, and if it makes sense, I'm also willing to change my opinion and way of doing.
Yeah. I know what's best for me today, and tomorrow it's got to be better. That's all I know.
I love that. I love that. All right, pal. Thanks for having me.
All right, brother. Thank you. Oh.